Hey guys, me here. Going to talk a bit about Scott Hall. Um, for a while now, Hall was living with DDP. I mean, he's not anymore, but he was living with DDP, back on rehabilitation. I mean, everybody knows the whole Scott Hall story. Um, it makes me think of Jeff Hardy. Um, Jeff Hardy had very similar life that Scott Hall did when it came to drugs and alcohol. And his appearance at Against All Odds a couple years ago, a lot of fans pretty much gave up on Jeff. And apparently, he went on this whole thing and he went clean, and then he came back to TNA, and apparently he's been clean ever since for like a year now. And that's kind of good because it gives hope for Scott Hall. You know what I mean? A lot of people gave up on Scott, just like a lot of people gave up on Jeff. Jeff Hardy did it, and I mean, I don't know the major differences between Jeff and Scott when it comes to the drugs and all that. I don't know them personally, obviously, but I know how fans think of both of them, and there's so many similarities between the two of them. Jeff probably has never gone as far into the deep end as Scott has, but Jeff Hardy is okay. He's apparently been living the clean life, which I think Scott can do. I I think we can't give up on Scott. We don't have to. It's so easy because you can get so mad at him. I mean, the biggest reason why I honestly think people get mad at him, at least fans, is because he had so much potential in the early '90s. When the average fan's favorite wrestler was Bret Hart or Shawn Michaels, mine was Mr. Perfect and Razor Ramon. Razor made it cool to be the bad guy. Before the whole NWO thing in WCW, it was cool to be a bad guy. He had so much talent, and he was never really the champion. He never headlined and owned WWF, or WWE, I should say now, or WCW. He's always that guy that had that potential, and he just was never able to reach it because he's his own worst enemy. I'll be one to admit that I pretty much gave up on Scott, just like I gave up on Jeff. I just thought, what? They've been effed up for so many years, and they've been trying to get better, but they never really did, and you just never saw much of an effort, and you never heard of much of an effort. And, positive and negative aside, I don't think we can give up on Scott Hall, and I don't think we should. You know, we don't know what it's like to be him. We've never performed in front of thousands of fans. We've never went through the things he went through. And again, like I said, it was good for Jeff Hardy. Jeff could do it. I think Scott could do it. There's so many similarities. And Scott had such an overwhelming, there were so many people that donated to Scott Hall to help with his hip surgery. I was surprised at that. I unfortunately never donated to it, and I would have, but I didn't hear about it until after it closed, unfortunately. And, there were all these people that donated that didn't give up on Scott. He needed hip surgery, he needed a replacement, and people gave him money. And I think maybe that put something in his head that, people still love him. The fans still love him. All the bad aside, Scott Hall, they still love the guy. His son's trying to become a wrestler, and is a wrestler, I guess I should say. He's gonna, trying to make it in the bigger leagues, I don't think we should give up on Scott. My dream for Scott Hall, just, I want him to come back. I want him to make a WWE return. I don't mean, sign him for a 3-year deal and he be the main event status. No, 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 no. I personally, if I had it my way, I would love to see him come back in the Royal Rumble next year, be, number 18 or whatever, partway through, a little bit more than halfway through, and out comes Razor Ramon. He looks like Razor, he moves like Razor, and he wrestles, and he has a match. And, he wins, or doesn't win, but, he's at the Royal Rumble, and he's successful, meaning, he was sober, he was Razor Ramon again, he was Scott Hall, he wasn't under the influence of anything. And maybe just have a short little final run for a couple months, just for, I think it would be the best way for him to say sorry to the fans and to thank the fans that never gave up on him. That would be my dream. I'd love to see him come back. And again, I don't mean as the, cornerstone of the company, kind of like a retirement tour, but not necessarily retirement. Just a way to say thank you. I've been a Scott Hall fan forever, as far back as I can remember. I became a fan of wrestling October 31st, 1993. I guess it was maybe 94 or early 95 when I first saw Razor Ramon, and I love the guy. I love the look, the feel. I just don't think we can give up on Scott, guys. He's actually really shown hard that he can change and that he wants to be sober. I know Scott's not going to see this. I know none of his family or friends are ever going to see this. But, I really think as a fan, as fans of wrestling itself, especially of this guy, we can't give up on him. It's hard for me to really talk about this. I've known so many wrestlers that have died, again, and I mean know is a different way. I don't physically knew these guys. Didn't know them. Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, Crash Holly, Brian Adams. Just all these wrestlers I can name that have died over the years that I grew up watching. And you hear about their ups and their downs, and you feel this strange attachment to them. Even though you never knew them physically, you never hung out with them, you just had this strange attachment to them. And we don't want to lose Scott Hall. We can be mad for what has happened and what he's done, but we can't give up on him. I would love to see Scott back. It would be great. I don't think we will see him, not in the ring as a performer. You never know, though. I would love to see it. I would love to see one more chance with him. I'm just basically making this video. Thank you, Scott Hall, for what you've done for the fans. Thank you for trying to get clean and becoming clean and not giving up. I don't know how hard it is. I'm not going to sit here and say I know how hard it is because I don't do drugs. I barely ever drank in my life. So I don't know where I'm coming from. I was never up at the top. I was never a wrestler, just a fan. And I don't know your trials and tribulations. I don't know your ups and your downs. But I know little bits and pieces from what I've heard from you in documentaries and what I've seen. And Scott, get better. There are people out there that love you. As you saw, you must have been shocked to see the support that people had for you. And I'm so thankful for DDP for helping you. And fans, just let's not give up on Scott Hall. Razor for life, you know what I mean? I got a Razor Ramon figure right beside me here. Let's not give up on him. I'd love to see him back. I don't really know what this video is about. I just wanted to say to the fans, don't give up. Keep showing your love and support for Scott Hall. And I just wanted to thank Scott for, for everything he's done and for walking in the right step, taking the right steps, walking in the right direction. It's really great, man. It really is.